Hi, welcome back to Chiffon. Hope you enjoy your stay while you're here. And I know based off the title, this is a bit different from my usual content, but this isn't necessarily supposed to be anything serious, just more so a collective of my thoughts as a queer teenager. And you may be wondering, Chiffon, you're queer? And yeah, I one day decided that I did not want to go to Jupiter to get more stupider. So I decided that I would be one of those who goes to college to get more knowledge. If that joke didn't make sense, I'm trans. Trans girl. But yeah, I was gonna say that's not important, but it kind of is for the video. So yeah, this video will sort of just be a collective of my thoughts and ideas and my personal beliefs as a teenager who is queer. But I said that already, so you knew that. Love is in the air as Valentine's begin to roll around, and as I see people wander the halls and the streets hand in hand with their partner, I am not jealous because I grew past that and I'm not a cornball, but I do feel a twinge of something. It's odd dating as a trans person, because most people perceive me as a guy, except I'm not really a guy. At least I don't want to be, or don't want people to see me as one. And it sort of like, cause I like girls. Um, I was a guy who liked girls, and now I'm a girl who likes girls, except I don't look like a girl. So it makes it very hard to like approach people who I find attractive because A, I don't know if they like girls, and B, I don't know if they would like me as I present now. So it's sort of like I'm rolling the dice. Um, that's why I'm more hesitant to approach a lot of people now, especially with that kind of stuff. In the past, before I realized I felt more comfortable doing it now that I was not because I'm secure in my identity, but it was sort of like because I looked like a guy and thought I was a guy, I could show myself as a guy to people, but because I'm a girl and I look like a guy, it makes it awkward and harder. And there's also like you run the risk of like running into someone who just does not like trans people, or you run the risk of running into one of those queer people who are really weird about trans people and tend to make them uncomfortable. And it's just a whole ordeal. And yeah, obviously it's not all bad though. I know a lot of people in relationships with other trans people are really comfortable, and I think that's a really pleasant thing. And I know there are a lot of spaces for queer people to like make connections and stuff like that. Because outside of dating, it's also just about making connections. Um, it's hard to tell someone that you're trans. It's really hard. Um, and I think that a lot of good spaces are like the key. The only issue is that like as far as I can tell, my school and the area where I live doesn't have many spaces. And obviously I'm friends with a lot of other queer people, which is cool. But the certain spaces meant for queer people specifically aren't really spaces that I enjoy being in. Whether there's people there that I don't like, or it's just a situation I would not want to put myself in. But yeah, that's basically the crux of my thought process. Dating and being trans is cool, but it's also difficult. Uh, yeah. The next topic of interest on this itinerary, this little journey of mine, is fashion. Fashion is a very common thing among people my age. Obviously, I'm a teenager. Fashion is a thing that a lot of people worry about, and I've recently gotten into fashion. There's a lot of styles that I like dressing up as, even if I don't have the clothes for it. I like a good jacket, or I like button ups and ties, and just accessorizing and styling different things. It's really fun. However, because I look like a guy, as mentioned many, many, many times already, it's hard to dress the way I want to. Because while I'm wearing these button ups and putting a jacket over it and wearing jeans with the shirt tucked in, there's a lot of styles that I see girls around me wearing that I'm really curious about. I think one of the main things that I think about a lot are skirts. Not just any skirt though, specifically long skirts that like go down to your ankles or like your feet. I think they look really pretty and really nice, and that's something I would definitely like to wear. Except I can't really, not only because I don't have money all the time for clothes shopping, but because there's just not really a prime opportunity to wear them. And obviously, I could wear them alone by myself in my room, but that kind of defeats the purpose, you know? You want to share your sense of self and your fashion with the world around you, and to be forced to hide that away because of the way you look or the way other people might think about you, it kind of sucks. But that's just the way I view it. Hair is a big one. There's a lot of hairstyles that I think are really cute or really like. Bangs are really nice. I think bangs look awesome, and there's a lot of people who pull off bangs really well. Uh, but both, and that's less of an issue because my hair type as is now, unless I straightened it out and grew it out more, would probably not permit bangs. But that's besides the point. It's also just like, yeah, if I looked like this as a guy, I would definitely get a lot of weird stares. And like, I'm not afraid of judgment. Well, that's a lie. I am partially afraid of judgment, but also it's sort of just like there's a lot of explaining that has to be done when you enter a space dressed a certain way and people look at you and they're like, oh, what are you doing? Or why are you dressed that way? Parents are a big issue, but I can also get into that later. This one's gonna start off a bit more silly, but I promise I absolutely have a point with it. There's a common joke in the trans community that states that trans women are good at one of two things, that being A, fighting games, or B, making music. And I'm not that good at either. Now, obviously, this is mainly a joke and stuff like that, but it definitely leads me into two talking points. Talking point A, the way a lot of trans girls in the trans community behave feels less than welcoming, very gatekeepy. Obviously, I'm not going to get into too much detail about it now because a lot of it gets into way out of my like pay grade territory, but there's a lot of like gatekeeping and stereotypes that people feel as if they had to have to adhere to, and a lot of ways people behave that sort of make the community feel like you have to fit a certain demographic. You know, being POC, it doesn't feel very welcoming to myself when the white trans women you see on the internet behave a certain way. And I hope that doesn't sound weird, uh, but you know, it's just like it's the same as like entering a predominantly white space in any sense as a black person. It's immediate ostracization. It's feeling as if you don't belong, and it's a lot of that, especially when the stereotypes like that come into play. That being said, when it's used in a joking manner, another point I would like to have is that I actually would really like to partake in certain things that apply or are a major part of trans culture, such as music or certain video games, because as gatekeeping as some people can be with them, there is something to be stated about how like ingrained those certain things are. There's a lot of like trans women artists that I listen to that make really good music, and I think that a part of that is something that I'm interested in. I've been trying to learn how to make music myself and learn how to play fighting games for a while now. And while I'm still not good, I have a lot of fun with them, but the point still tends to stand. I want to feel included, but I don't want to feel forced to have to do either of those things. I'm mashing these 2 points together. When it's used as a joke and as a way to bond rather than an obligation or something that a trans woman has to do in order to be like considered realer than someone else, it does get to a point. Or sorry, weird way to end the sentence, but it does feel better when it's used as a form of inclusion rather than ostracization. I was gonna say more, but honestly, I feel like this is a good place to leave it. I don't really have much to say, and I don't want to just keep blabbing and blabbing on if I don't have anything useful to say. But yeah, this was just some of more of my ramblings that I do all the time, and I hope you guys appreciated it. Let me know if you liked it or want something similar. Please, thank you, and have a great day or night or afternoon wherever you are.